Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just hit the link in the show description to support now.
Hey, this is Dean Haglund from The X-Files, and I'm with Chris Gordon on Hellblazer Biz.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, my lovely audience, wherever you are in the world right now. Welcome to Hellblazer Biz, the show where you get to have your questions answered by your favourite TV and film stars. Hellblazer Biz is brought to you along with the BS Podcast Network and the Britpod scene, so get yourselves onto those and start listening to the other amazing podcasts out there as well. I am your host, as always, Chris Gordon. Today I bring to you a guest, as always. This character the guest brought to life has been one of my favourites since I was a teen. With his two co-stars he formed the Lone Gunmen, a trio of highly intelligent nerds who lived and breathed conspiracy theories on the worldwide hit show The X-Files, which made a triumphant return last year and is shortly to provide an 11th season as well. It's also got audible original drama Cold Cases, and a follow-up is coming soon. I'm in conspiratorial paradise to bring to you Richard Ringo Langley himself, Mr. Dean Haglund. Good day, everybody. I have the awesome pleasure of one of my childhood heroes, Dean Haglund, one of the Lone Gunmen from the X-Files. Hey, Dean.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. I really do appreciate you coming onto the show and agreeing over Twitter, so that was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, that worked out great.
It did indeed, and finding time in your hectic schedule to chat to me has been brilliant. Oh,
are you there?
I'm here. I lost you briefly then.
Because this is part of the conspiracy.
It is, yes. There's something's deeming us not to be able to talk here.
I know.
Excellent. Well, as you know, you are my first guest from the X-Files, and yeah, technical issues abound.
Abound, exactly.
I think there's someone smoking some Morleys somewhere, perhaps stopping us from
right, stopping us from talking.
Exactly.
Don't let that information out.
They know what I'm going to ask, that's why.
You're right.
Excellent. I've got a few questions for you, just to sort of find out a bit more about you and where you've been and what you've been up to and what the future holds.
Okay, let's do it.
Cool. First question I've kind of got is, how did you first get approached to do the X-Files originally? Way back when?
Way back when. Well, there was no approaching to do it. Like 45 other actors, we auditioned for the role. My agent didn't even know what the X-Files was. He said, I don't know what the show is. I think it's about aliens and FBI. And it's just like, you get a call, go and audition for this thing.
Yeah.
And what was funny is that normally you go in and, I always audition with the same three actors that had long hair. And so suddenly this audition had 45 guys. Some of them were like shaved, bald with military fatigue. Some of them were short guys. Everybody was going through there. And I don't think they knew what they wanted for the Lone Gunmen.
Yeah.
So they were just trying out different types. In fact, I auditioned and then came back and auditioned with my good friend Gary Jones, who was Walter Harriman on Stargate SG-1.
Oh, cool.
And he was auditioning for Byers. And we said, wouldn't that be great if we were in the show together? And then he didn't get it, I got it. And originally it was just going to be the one episode.
Yeah.
And then because of the early days of the internet, they said, look at this, Lone Gunmen, this proves that the writers, everybody are lurking on our news group. And in fact, that was the case. And so they would keep bringing back the gunmen to increase web chatter, or newsgroup chatter anyway, and have one of the first shows that had a sort of symbiotic relationship between the fans and the actors.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's, from my point of view, I think it was probably the first show that I got into that did have that a fandom around it, and like you say, that symbiotic relationship there.
Yeah.
It was probably, I think, in fact, it was probably one of the very founding shows that, well, maybe not. If you go back to Star Trek, had the same, but from that kind of
yeah.
But it was definitely out of the more modern series and modern shows. It was definitely, I think, the first and a forerunner.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, in terms of marketing, like the marketing department of Fox, we're suddenly, kind of on the back heel of the connection. Like my website in 1995 predated the Fox X-Files website. So I was putting on at the time, it was a diary, now called a blog.
Yeah.
I was putting on my blog information about the show that then I would get calls from Fox Marketing going, can you change your website? Because we're getting, blowback from stuff I put on my website that they didn't even have a website up yet for the X-Files.
Yeah.
So that's how weird it was and how advanced and how it took them a couple of 6 to 8 months to actually get up to speed on marketing, internet, fan connection.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. I mean, those days as well. It still was the early days of the internet, anyway. So it's again groundbreaking to sort of have that whole introduction. Well, when I say early days of the internet, I mean again that's been going since '60s, but from the internet.
Yeah. I know. I don't want to say how old I am, but I had an email account in '91, and I still remember everybody going, "Well, it's been really fun, but tomorrow American Online opens this up to everybody. It's going to be shitty." And goodbye, everybody. That was it. And sure enough, then World Wide Web hit, and then it was like a whole different ballgame.
Yeah. I had an email address back then as well.
And it was
AOL. Yep.
Yeah. Well, pre-AOL, the universities in America, anyway, were all connecting up so that you could email other university students in Stanford and New York State and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So that was like sort of a early ARPANET node that we were all talking to each other, and that was pretty cool.
It was, yeah. I mean, I was in the university 94 to 98, and I remember sitting, being the nerd that I was, proud to be, because you have, sitting in the computer rooms talking on BBS, ICS chat and BBS boardrooms too.
Bulletin boards?
Yeah, bulletin boards. I used to sit and chat to my friends in Ohio State and places like that.
Yeah.
Before instant messenger and everything. Yeah, online chess and...
The good old days.
Oh, yeah. And, yeah, but I say that was very early days, and look where we are now with it. It's absolutely amazing. From chatting on a bulletin board, DOS-based system, we can now
I know.
We're now chatting pretty much, well, almost video, but we're chatting audio via the computers, across the other sides of the world, which is great.
It is kind of great, but it's also, how come I didn't come up with Facebook? Damn it.
Yeah.
That one slipped right past me.
Yeah, so many ideas when we were back then. We could have been ruling the world by now.
I know.
Billionaires.
I know. What happened, Chris? What happened?
Exactly. I just wasn't clever enough personally, but I'm sure you were acting. There you go. you were involved.
Yeah.
You were taken on TV by.
Yeah, I was a little busy. You're right.
Yeah. You were busy taking all of our lives by storm, and opening a whole world of conspiracies that we never even dreamed of.
Well, yes. I mean, it wasn't just me, of course.
Well, no, not just you. The whole cast, the whole writers. And everyone.
All the writers and everybody were really into that stuff, and researching it too. They introduced me to the real life. They said to me, "Oh, do you want to meet the guys who we're basing this on?" And so, Dr. Roger Lear and Jordan Maxwell and all these guys, I got to know through the show.
Fantastic. I can't remember the name of the British one as well, because I think when I started watching the X-Files, I then found out there was a British X-Files, a real one, with all and I can't remember his name.
Robin Tudge.
It could have been, yeah, it could have been Robin.
Yeah.
He used to work in the Ministry of Defence on the X-Files as well, and it was just like, I couldn't have been more heavilier into it.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Exactly, believing all the conspiracies. How did obviously after that? This is my questions again. It's went into hiatus. We had a good 9 seasons, then a few years off. How did you feel when you heard that the X-Files were being reopened again? Well,
great, actually. I mean, it sort of was left hanging, and I thought so much of the world had changed since it ended that it would be really great to explore all of the stuff again. But of course, then it was the question: how does the Lone Gunmen come back if we were killed off in season 9? And no spoilers, but I think they might have found a way.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that actually, and I hope it's.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, it might not spoil it anyway. I've actually I've listened to the Audible play.
Oh, you have?
I have, yeah. There's an Audible series.
The books.
Yeah, Cold Cases, which was fantastic. That was actually my second question to this. Was it was the fact that Cold Cases, from what I understand, seems to have taken from the comic book series season 10 as well, where, again, I apologise for spoilers here for people who haven't, where the Lone Gunmen may suddenly find themselves back in the mix, as it were. And it was the same. I think it was the same way as well, in the way that, helping out the I mean, I don't know much about the comics. This was my research into it to find out it was based on the comics, but it was the very same sort of theory in the fact that you would actually originally hidden by the government, and you would help, FBI helping FBI and things like that. It's very much how Cold Cases brought it to life as well. How did you feel when you were asked back to be Langley again?
I love it. Of course, it's like the easiest role to do. There's no prosthetic makeup. I don't have to put in fangs. There's nothing. I don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. to get to set to do, a lot of prep. Basically, it's a pair of jeans and a t-shirt and some fake glasses, and now, of course,
now you're gonna have to wear fake hair.
Yeah, some hair extensions get plugged in there too, but still, it's really fun, and the cast and crew has always been such a great team to work with, and Chris Carter is such a excellent executive producer, because he doesn't micromanage the departments, so he really allows, the lighting and the set design to really swing for the fences, to really make the best show that you could possibly do. So no one phones it in across all departments, which is really great to see. Yeah. And of course, that DNA echoes through all the writers. Frank Spotnitz doing his shows, and you can see it in Vince Gilligan's Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, how much television has improved with this working model that sort of, again, Chris Carter, I think, was the first to really, take the medium seriously, as opposed to everyone going, oh, I'm just doing some TV till I get to do movies kind of thing. Yeah. He said, no, TV can be and stand alone in the same quality, like a 1 hour movie, or a 44-minute movie. Like, that's how he approached it, as opposed to going, well, it's TV. We'll just, blow this off and get it out of here in 8 days, and we're done, sort of thing. And I think that led to the golden age of really great TV across the board. Once that quality jumped like that, everybody realized, oh yeah, you could really do some really great stuff on the quote unquote small screen. Yeah.
And he certainly did. I mean, some of again, I'll use the word groundbreaking again with the original 9 seasons. It had this absolutely, it was groundbreaking technology. There was groundbreaking television, and like you say, each episode could have actually been a standalone. Obviously, some of them were carried over, but they were definitely. The cinematography and everything in it was just absolutely perfect, and it could. Even today it stands. I mean, I've got the Blu-ray box sets. Because I had to get them. I've been waiting years for them to come out on Blu-ray and get remastered. So that was watching them again in that quality and everything, and they still stand up today. It is 20 years on now, isn't it?
20 years on.
Yeah, 20 years on, they still stand up.
Well, and that's the thing. He said, it could look like. Because he loved Kolchak the Night Stalker, right? That's sort of how X-Files has some of its DNA back to that one. But, there's elements in Kolchak the Night Stalker that aren't holding up after 20 years, because TV attitudes in the 70s was, we do this while we're waiting to do movies kind of thing. And so by him making it this quality, and think about, I still think to this day about the submarine conning tower that comes up through the ice in the episode. I forget what the episode was called.
I can't remember the name. I know exactly which one you mean.
Yeah, but to do that, they built a prop conning tower on a hydraulic lift in the studio, and then surrounded it with styrofoam, then refrigerated the entire studio and flooded it with water, so there was like 3 to 4 inches of ice, and then blew snow over it, and then kept the whole thing below freezing up until they began filming, when the conning tower breaks through the ice.
Wow.
And I know. And you think, good luck. That took a week and a half just to prep that and light it. And even at the time, like even now, I think about that kind of work going into the scene of it, just a submarine coming up through the ice.
Yeah.
Like, could we do that digitally? Can we, do just a close-up of the conning tower? No. Everybody went out of their way to make this thing super real and look fantastic.
That's brilliant. I picture that, and now I'm going to watch that scene again. I'm going to sit there and remember what you said about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, take a look at it again.
Yeah, I mean, to go into such, for set, production designers and stuff like that, to go into such detail. I mean, I've spoken to a production designer, Dave Blass. He does things like do you know Preacher?
Yeah.
He's the production set designer for Preacher. He was on Constantine, which is why he's on the show. And I know the detail that he put into things as well. So, you're looking right back to 20 years ago and making a prop conning tower in a day when they could have actually done, computer graphics, and they could have easily made it in that way.
Yeah,
they didn't.
But if you look at computer graphics from 20 years ago, now you see through it, it looks terrible.
Very true.
I think Chris realized that, even CGI back then is not going to look great. It won't have the shelf life of doing it practically. So that was foresight on his part for sure.
Very good. Yeah, very good foresight to have the longevity of his series by making it all real.
Yeah.
The one thing I was going to go back to the about the Audible book as well. That's right. That is me. I used to have this show called Ramblings of a Hellblazer, Dean, because it's just this is what the whole ethos is. People love listening to this. I mean, as you know, you're a podcaster yourself, so how these people just love what they listen to. Chris Carter, I believe, actually, from what I understood, he made it clear that anything brought up in comics was going to be disregarded. But obviously, bringing that must have changed somehow with Audible. And other audio, I'll say not just Audible, there are other audio outlets out there to listen to audiobooks. But do you see that as a good outlet to expand the X-Files universe in ulterior motive, in ulterior ways?
Absolutely. IDW comic books, particularly the first run, I think we're about 8 or 10. Chris Carter was co-writing those with IDW staff and Joe. Oh, damn it! Joe was the writer and editor working closely with that. So he was. So Chris was there developing it, making sure that it had that same feel and quality to it. And me, Mr. Loudmouth, I was at Comic-Con with Jillian and Chris on the DS. I was moderating, and I put Chris's feet to the fire, saying, is this official canon or is this not official canon? And he said it was official canon.
Oh, cool.
But that was before then Fox agreed to do 6 more episodes.
Yeah.
So I think once Fox then said, we want 6 episodes and we want that to sort of wrap up the whole X-Files thing. So then he realized, okay, well, now we have a problem, because if the comic book is a continuation, we were divergent in various places. Yeah. Lone Gunmen being the least of the worries. So I think then he recanted that. But now, based on both the new series, so Fox saw like the first 1 or 2 of the X-Files reboot, and they loved it so much they said, okay, don't wrap this thing up. You can have your cliffhanger, and we may keep it going. And then from that point, the Audible book series and everything may be a way of transversing the comic book universe and the continued television storyline, so that you don't have to go, that one's real, that one's fake, sort of thing. So I think they're working very hard to, and this is always what you want as writers and creators, is not roadblocks, but obstacles, challenges, to creatively bring and write and create your way out of problems, as it were. And so I think that now they're doing that, and I think it's actually really renewed the energy in the entire X-Files universe. So
yeah, definitely do. Like I say, man, I listened to the Audible stuff. I downloaded it. It came out in July. It was only last this month, wasn't it? June or July? Yeah, it was only this month. Thankfully, I had some commuting driving to do to London and back, because I had plenty of time to listen to it. And I was totally engrossed. The storylines were great, and you could tell the production values were brilliant. And obviously, it was different because you couldn't see the characters, but you didn't need to, because again, that's a credit to your acting abilities, the acting abilities of David, Gillian, and
Mitch was in there.
Yeah, Mitch and
William B. Davis.
That's it. Thank you. Yeah. My mind suddenly went blank.
And
the writing to actually, make you feel really. I was actually in my car, but I wasn't in my car. I was with you guys wherever you were. It was such
that's awesome.
It was a fantastic story, and it was, it was just like listening or watching a series of, on TV, because you're following the next episode came along, and the storyline, especially behind you guys. And I won't go into full spoilers about, just in case people don't know. But your storyline and the Lone Gunmen storyline and things like that were just absolutely fantastic. Those storylines are absolutely brilliant, and it was a fantastic thing. And obviously with season 11 coming along, do you see that perhaps? I know we've just obviously mentioned it could possibly change have separate canons for the different types of stories going on. How much can you tell me about season 11? Is there any similarities there at all?
Yeah, clearly I cannot tell you anything about season 11.
Damn it!
Other than it's going to be brilliant, and I think they're doing 10 episodes, or maybe even 12. But I'm pretty sure it's 10 episodes this time.
Yeah.
This series round, and all the writers are back. There's Glenn Morgan, James Wong, Darren Morgan's back. Chris, and of course Vince is working on Better Call Saul, so he couldn't make it. And Frank is over in London doing the alternative America. If America lost World War II, what's that series called again?
Man in High Castle, is it?
Yeah, Man in the High Castle. And so Frank couldn't come back for that, but a lot of the other people are back, and some new writers are including female writers, as it were. Yeah, so they were worried. I think IndieWire got on the case of, hey, how come there's no female writers writing the X-Files?
Yeah,
and so that's been solved, and so it's going to be really fantastic. And I think everybody's going to love it. You can't please everyone, of course, but
true.
But they definitely listened to fan feedback from the 6 episodes that were
season
last
10,
year, and season 10. So this would be this is season 11. Yeah, that sounds weird.
It does,
but
yeah.
Yes, I think all of that's, and then, like I said, it feels creatively reinvigorated, like third season. When suddenly everybody was firing on all cylinders in all departments. It feels like that again.
Fantastic. Oh, that's really, really good to hear. And I was going to say, I take it that means you can't tell me about, was there any correlation between I can delete this bit out if you want me to. Correlation between your recent trip to Vancouver.
All right. Well, no, that's obvious. That's on my podcast too.
I know. I was going to say I might have to listen to. I'll talk about your podcast in a minute, so get people to listen to your episode on there.
Yeah. No, I could say, I can go with that. That in fact, Langley's in the new series for sure. And but that's all I can say. How? Can't tell you how. Can't tell you. But it's going to be more than a peyote trip for 1 second. So it'll be better than much more.
Yeah.
I have many more lines than I did in season 10.
Excellent. I'll leave it at that. I won't push you on that
Yeah.
one.
Okay, awesome.
I do know that you've just had that recently on your own podcast as well, so I will be listening to that as well.
Okay, fantastic.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah. What I was going to say then as well is, season 10 was great. I loved my personal favourite was the one with the lizard man.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember which episode that was, but oh god, that was hilarious. To me, that was true X-Files, because when I remember in the 90s, it was the humour as well. There was, the underlying humour, and it was just brilliant.
Absolutely, and that was Darren Morgan wrote that one, and casting Rhys Darby from Flight of the Conchords, I thought was inspired, because he was actually a really great actor. Like, who knew? Yeah.
Exactly. It was just a perfectly done episode. The whole series was great, but that was a perfectly done episode. Cool.
Totally.
Excellent. Before I move on to questions from fans, there's only about 3 or 4 from fans in, I want to just quickly talk to you about your podcast, because I know you've been doing that for over 10 years now as well.
Yeah. So me and Phil Ernest do Chill Pack Hollywood Hour. So named because I had a laptop cooling system called the Chill Pack, and it was I sold the patent off, and I think the company either had a competing device, and so they just bought the patent and buried it.
Right.
But we still call it Chill Pack Hollywood Hour because A, we're lazy, and B, it's also this idea of innovation and solutions, cheap solutions to complex problems, and so we co-produce and we work together on making movies and watching movies. And 10 years ago, we had offices side by side. He was in foreign distribution, and I had my LA production company. And we would meet every Monday morning and just start chatting about movies we saw or live events we went to or what celebrity died. And our intern at the time said, this is my favorite thing, you guys just chatting for an hour. We should record that and just put it online. And so we went, oh yeah, whatever. And thus, 10 years later, every Monday, our free new podcast has gone on without fail. And I owe a lot to Phil, because I moved to Australia and suddenly... I thought, well, there ends that podcast. But he's managed to take the reins of recording and producing and getting that up there, and so the show continues. And
fantastic.
It's absolutely free. We don't cotton to advertising. We have a fake advertiser, but we do it just out of the sheer fact that we enjoy talking once a week. And catching up on all things showbiz and around the world, and it's a lot more talking about humanities and issues of feminism and cool. All sorts of not just movie reviews or anything like that, but
just a general
lawsuits. Anything that we would normally talk about on a Monday morning at the office, sort of thing. So
fair enough.
So we have a fan base that's quite large, but we don't even bother looking at our statistics. We know 34% of our listeners are in China. That's
all right. Okay.
We don't know why. We don't know if it's being translated in a funny way or if there's a lot of expats listening or what. So we just saw that statistic about 4 years ago, and we're like, well, what do you know there?
Yeah, that's an interesting statistic.
Isn't that interesting?
It is. Yeah.
We don't know what to make of it. Like, okay, so there you go. So
I think on mine, I've personally, it's similar. I've got about 59% of mine in the United States, but I've also got like 14% or something like that, and 20% in Slovakia and Eastern Europe as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I would like that. Well, hello, Slovakia and Eastern Europe.
I don't actually know who it is from there, but
Right.
But it's a great idea for your concept for your podcast, and I must admit, I will start subscribing to it and listening to your backstories as well. And it's amazing
thank you.
You're welcome. It's amazing how many podcasts do sort of spring up just from the idea of people chatting. I mean, the only reason I'd started mine was a Constantine TV show got canned. And I couldn't express on Twitter because you can only write 140 characters,
Right.
And I couldn't express my thoughts.
Rage.
On Twitter. So what I tried to do is I was trying to motivate people, and I just did these little 5-minute things, 10 minutes with a few impressions of Muppets and stuff, trying to get people's spirits up, and people like, and people seemed to like it. And then it was a production assistant on the show ended up talking to me. And we made friends, and I asked if she'd like to come on and talk about her experiences, and she did. And people sent their questions to ask, for me to ask her. And from there, she turned round and she said, "Chris, you're actually really good at this." And I was like, "Am I?" And she was like, "Yeah, I'm not blowing my own trumpet." And since then, I was like, "Okay." And then I had the whole cast of Constantine came on, and it was just like I was just blown away. And that's how this started. 2 years later, I'm on. Oh. So I was going to say, yeah.
Other shows, so now you're expanding outwards.
Exactly, yeah. 2 years on, I'm
that's
talking to the X-Files, episode 92.
That's
it
where it
is.
goes, man. So
Yeah, it's one of those things, but definitely cool. So as I say, I've got some questions from moving on as well from fans as well. I'll get those in
let's have a yes. What's everybody interested in?
So let me see. Bethany Jade, what was it like working with David and Gillian?
They're fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
What's odd, actually, is watching the X-Files, how dramatic it is, because those two are so funny.
Yeah.
They have a great sense of humor, and it was often a lot of laughs on set. But, of course, that was between takes, so when they, actually then yelled action and were like, pulled out the acting chops, then they were like fully focused and stuff like that. But my memory of working with them over the years was always so much fun and so much laughs that you thought you were doing a comedy, and then you actually see them and you go, wow, that's I could see everyone having a different impression of them as people from the way I know them.
Yeah. Fantastic. Is there any standout stories that you can think of that were really hilarious that you can, off the top of your head?
You see the blooper reels, they're online and stuff like that, and it's sort of that kind of thing where there's not really any gaggy punchline that they would say.
Just little
things.
Yeah.
But we were often asked, were you allowed to improvise as the Lone Gunmen? And the answer was no, because you had 43 minutes. We had a ton of information to deliver, so we couldn't do that. But David would mock us as the gunman. Mulder would be mocking us. I think I had a line once was, "Hey, Mulder, do you want to hop on the internet and nitpick the scientific inaccuracies of Earth 2, which was a terrible 90s science fiction show?"
Yeah.
And I think he said, "I'm doing laundry," which wasn't in the script. And so, that got a big laugh, and that was kept in. So if you want to see their sense of humor, I go on YouTube, check out X-File blooper reels, and you'll get a real sense of what it was like working with them, because it was that much fun.
Fantastic. Thank you. Stephen Potter. We've got two questions. First is, what are your thoughts on the Lone Gunmen spin-off? And were there any changes you would have made if you could have done?
Yeah, well, the Lone Gunmen spin-off was actually a really great show and had really big ratings and stuff like that. And cancellation was a bit of a surprise after 13 episodes. In fact, I drew a comic book written and drawn by me from my perspective called Why the Lone Gunmen Was Cancelled.
Right.
And it sort of explains the backstory of how it came together and how it fell apart. But would I have done something differently? I was throwing up a lot in those 13. I would have less vomit scenes, I think, maybe. But in fact, we had a second season was starting to pencil out, including Tom Braidwood, who played Frohicky, was going to direct an episode. And I was working with Pamela Anderson on her series VIP. I had done 2 or 3 of those, and I was talking to her saying, will you come on our series, The Lone Gunmen, playing yourself? And she agreed.
Wow.
So we were already penciling out, a Pamela Anderson cameo. Well, not just cameo, like she wanted to be like acting like a whole episode, helping the gunman out or hanging out in the gunman office or something, where it's like, oh my God, that would have been amazing. So yeah, I mean, we love the show. Vince Gilligan's gone on record saying his one regret in showbiz is that series didn't go, and that if he ever has a moment and enough power in Hollywood, he said he would bring the Lone Gunmen spin-off back.
Excellent.
But yes, I think he's a little busy at the moment. But it could happen.
It could happen, still, especially with the renewed interest.
Yeah, absolutely. So it would be ridiculous to speculate on how I would have saved the show, because I think the show was really finding its feet and really developing nowadays huge numbers. I think we had 13 shared and 6 to 8 million viewers.
Wow.
Which back then was considered great, but not 15 million viewers and not 60 million viewers. But nowadays that would be like a massive hit show. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I also think, the Gunman was probably a little ahead of its time. The idea of a car running on water or super intelligent military chimps, that kind of thing wasn't quite in the popular consciousness as it is now. So, had it come a year or two later, I think it would have really gone on much longer.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree. I mean, it's such a shame that they did that, and you never know. Say with the renewed interest, we might get that renewal as well.
You never know.
We never know.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, next question I've actually got. It came in from Kevin Rahm. I don't know if you've heard of Kevin. Do you watch Lethal Weapon TV series, or have you seen it?
Yeah. Oh no, not the TV series.
Right, okay. No, Kevin Rahm plays the captain. He's a former guest of mine, and he plays the captain on Lethal Weapon. He would like to know.
Awesome.
Yeah, were you a conspiracy theorist before the show?
Good question. I wasn't that much into it. My brother really was into it, particularly sort of ancient Egyptology and those kind of lost wisdom through the ages, and the burning of the library in Constantinople and all those sort of things. And I would often call him to ask him what the hell I'm talking about here on the show. And so he would sort of fill me in backstory on, certain famous UFO stories or things like that he would know. So, like everything, when you have an older brother, you sort of watch the TV shows, He would watch Land of the Giants and Star Trek and all those things. And so, by the sheer fact I didn't get the remote control, I would watch those things too. So he was much more into the conspiracies. But as I did the X-Files, then I got to know a lot of these guys who, don't even call themselves conspiracy theorists. They're researchers. They dedicate their lives to finding out about this information, getting that information to the public. Mr. Dolan, Dr. Lear, Jordan Maxwell, those type of guys.
All right, cool, excellent. He'll just message as well, just to say he loves the X-Files.
That's so awesome! I'm going to start watching Lethal Weapon TV series.
You should, Dean. Seriously, it was brilliant. The hang up at the beginning. I spoke to Clayne Crawford, who plays Riggs, a few weeks ago. And even he said at the beginning. I mean, I told him I'm starting to think the TV series is better than the films, and he was like, "Blasphemy!" They're both very, very good. In fact, all the cast members are brilliant. I've actually spoken to most of the main cast on it, and they are all very good. The series, from the moment, even the other half, she was like, doesn't get into a series very much, but the first 10 minutes and you're addicted. It is really, really good.
That's awesome. Is Shane Black involved? He wrote the original.
I'm not sure, actually. I don't think
that
he
would
is.
Be something. Don't think he is. Yeah,
I'm not sure. I can't. I'm not
awesome.
sure. I've not seen his name come through.
Do you know if it's showing in Australia? Because we get weird television down there.
Oh, you do? I do believe it is. I do believe season 1 just finished recently. They're shooting season 2 now, because Clayne spoke to me from the set of season 2, which I was chuffed at.
Okay, awesome.
But I think season 1's on in Australia now. I think you can get it on Amazon. Amazon Prime or Netflix, one of those two as well,
right.
possibly. If not, I mean, it's on ITV in the UK, so it must be on a major network out in Australia.
Well, not necessarily. And,
But I've got Australian fans, and I'll speak to.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I'll speak to one of them and find out what it's showing on in Australia, and I'll drop you a message.
Okay, yeah, that'd be good, because I also have the Australian streaming service called Stan.
Right.
Which sounds like some hacker that is just stealing TV shows, and I'm paying him $50 a month for some reason. But whatever. Yeah. I'm not going to question who Stan is, but if Stan has Lethal Weapon, I'll be watching it.
Excellent. The other question Kevin's done, I think, is tongue in cheek. In the 90s, did you ever sign any autographs for Dana Carvey?
No, but I had a button that the fans made me that I'm not Garth. And that was pretty funny. But not Dana Carvey. I'll tell you who I got mistaken for more often, and in fact got great seats at a restaurant in Hollywood, was the lead singer of Rush, Geddy Lee.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, him and I apparently have similar face features, and with long hair, I looked like the lead singer of Rush. And I went to a restaurant with some friends, and they made me say, "Oh, hey, I'm a big fan." I'm thinking he's a fan of the Lone Gunmen. And then he sits me down and goes, "Are you guys in the studio?" And I'm like, "Well, no, we're not in the studio." Which I thought he was referring to, you're shooting X-Files in the studio. Yeah, so all these questions, and then it's like, "So when does your next album drop?" I think he said. And then it's slowly done, and drop. What are you talking about? And then I shut my mouth going, "Okay, I better play along that I'm Geddy Lee, or I'm not, he's going to kick me out of the restaurant." So I never told him.
Fair enough. That's interesting.
No, I think it only happened once. But, nice. But it was a really great restaurant. It was hard to get into. Yeah, I'm not going to blow my seat. Well, I'm not that guy.
Yeah, exactly. You did the right thing.
Thank you. Cool. Thank you.
Cool. Carrie Boyce, her husband Luke, is also a huge fan. They actually met Gillian and David last year, and I'm really jealous of them doing that. They said, "Do you consider yourself more of a believer or a skeptic in your own life when it comes to the supernatural?" Which is kind of following on from Kevin's. And have you ever had any unusual experiences of your own with paranormal that you'd like to share?
Well, I did a documentary in 2010 called "The Truth Is Out There," which is available, I think, on my website and on a Facebook page. "Truth Is Out There" movie documentary. You can look it up, and in there we explore a lot of supernatural and events. And we actually go to up in Washington State, Yakima, where there's the most number of UFO sightings in North America, statistically. Yeah. And I, as I said, even if I saw something paranormal or UFO, something now, I don't think I would report it or mention it, because then everybody would go, poor guy, just misses the X-Files. He's got a little kooky. So, there's been a ghost who maybe attended one of my comedy shows. I was performing in New York State in an old church, and it was a small house, so I saw a guy just before the lights were coming down, coming to take a seat, and my friends were sitting in the theater and saw the same guy walking down the aisle, and then when the lights came up, there was nobody there. Ooh. And so both of us, from two different angles, saw this guy walking down an aisle, and he disappeared. So that's our one ghost sighting. That's not that great, but it's a ghost that is verified from front and back, which is rare. And but other than that, there's no paranormal phenomena, and as you'll see in the documentary, I think you can even watch it on YouTube now. Truth Is Out There. It's a lot about consciousness and conspiracy, and how being a skeptic or a believer is kind of too blunt a point, because there's a lot of great information from all sides of the spectrum, and to go, "Oh, well, that person's crazy, I'm not listening to anything they say," then doesn't allow you to get the information that you need, sort of things. So I guess that's a roundabout way to tell you that the answer is watching the documentary.
Fantastic. I had some major ones in when I went to Normandy for the 60th anniversary of D-Day. I won't go into the war, but the one that stuck out of my mind, and it sends chills. I've just got goosebumps. Bumps, even thinking about it, is the fact that we were camping out one night. We were in a little campsite. It was the middle of where the Battle of the Bocage took place, and we were all sat around the campfire. There must have been about 50 people altogether in different groups of, we weren't together. Obviously,
right
in the campsite. Everyone, its head, they just looked up because there was little copse of woodland about 20-30 yards from the campsite, and in the middle of all you heard was "Macht fertig." And it was the sound. Macht fertig's German for make ready. And then you hear the cocking of a machine gun. And we all ran to where the wood was. There was nothing there, and it was night time. So the following day we went back, and I uncovered a big, massive trench. It was 6 foot long and about 4 or 5 foot deep, and there was porcelain at the bottom of it. It was a machine gunner's trench. And
wow.
Yeah, and I've just got chills thinking about that. And very, very. There's loads more, but I won't go into it because I haven't got time. But yeah, very creepy.
That's amazing. Wow, that's phenomenal.
It was very, very, very. And I say there's like 40 or 50 people who witnessed it at the same time as well. So
right. Those are always the good ones when you have collaboration. As opposed to,
just on your own.
I saw something by myself. Well, sure you did. Yeah.
Cool. The last question I've got for you, Dean, is from James Logan. What's your favourite memorable moment from being in the X-Files?
Wow, favourite memorable moment. Oh, there's so many. I mean, I remember the very first episode we did in season 1, EBE, meeting Bruce for the first time in the trailer. We didn't audition together, so it was just a surprise. And then to hear, it was so funny, go, well, who do they get to play Frohicky? and Bruce goes, oh, it's the first AD, it's the first assistant director. And I'm like, what? What kind of cheap thing is this? And so it was funny that we all just meet for the first time and really hit it off and had the great chemistry. But I'm trying to think other memorable moments. I think the last day of shooting, too, was really great. Kim Manners, who was one of the great directors of the X-Files, who died, I think, a year after that.
Right.
We had a really great talk at the wrap party, all about showbiz and life and his career and how he started on Leave It to Beaver as an actor. And, I always remember that as not just a great learning experience on film and television, but what a great guy he was. And
that's nice.
And Kim Manners is still remembered amongst all the X-Files crew and cast.
That's very touching. It's nice to say someone obviously held such a presence with you all. Indeed.
For sure.
Yeah. The last thing James wants to know is something I want to know as well. Is any plans to visit Wales sometime at the beginning of December?
Oh my gosh, I got good friends in Wales, and I've been there. I love Wales. I had toured through Swansea, and I was doing my comedy show. That was back in 2009-ish. So it's been 8 long years since I've been there. So yes, I'm due back, but thus far no plans, unfortunately.
Well, the first week of December is Wales Comic Con. Mitch is coming.
Oh, is he?
He is.
Oh, well, I'll have to
a chat
talk
with
to him about that.
Have a chat with Mitch.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be good to see you there. Anyway, and quickly, is there anything you'd like to say to people?
Check out the podcast. Come to my website, deanhaglund.com. I'm rebuilding the whole thing, and I'll talk to you next time.
Oh, thanks, Dean. That was absolutely fantastic. I've been an X-Files fan for over 20 years, since I first ever watched the episode in trepidation, and then loved it, fell in love, and absolutely brilliant to talk to you. Lone Gunmen, one of my favourite groups ever. Everyone, thank you for sending in questions. I hope you all had an enjoyable listen to that, as I had talking to the wonderful Dean Haglund.